Welcome everyone on YouTube and on Facebook. Today we're talking about authenticity. That's been the whole topic. And last week, Reverend Z talked about being bold and courageous. And that's about seeing the light. And we're all authentic. And if you don't believe it now, I believed it after and during COVID. I went deep within. Even though we were forced to be inside, I went deep within my own inner journey and also had to realize I had to heal a lot of stuff of being bullied as a little girl growing up in the deep south. That I was called weird and little ET and totally different and who are you? And I realized when I did not go into my authenticity, my life went upside down. And one day I was thinking about, I have two cousins that are twins. And a lot of people may or may not know this, but a fingerprint, every fingerprint is so unique, including with a twin. So we're already born authentic. God made us authentic. That's who we are. And we're amazingly authentic. So there have been times in my lifetime, I see clients, time in my clients' lives that everyone's been comparing or shoulda, coulda, woulda, like from the past. I should have did this, or I didn't do this, or my mom wanted me to do this, my dad wanted me to do this. Well, that's not practicing authenticity. So I feel it's time, and as Reverend Z said, a call to action this week, but also for our life in this new year. This new year is authentic. People are talking about coming out of COVID, coming out of mask. Well, forget that. The whole world is changing. Russia is changing. There's volcanoes, there's earthquakes, that economy, money's changing. Bitcoin. I made money from Bitcoin last year. I still don't understand it, but money showed up in an authentic way. I'm like, this is very interesting of just changing that wiring. So 3 things I want to talk about is the shame and the judgment and the guilt. It's time for us to authentically release it. So our first slide, and Diego, the man behind the curtain where he is, will put up the first slide for us. Authenticity means that you must do what you do the way you do it and allow everyone else the same courtesy. And Yolanda Van Zandt, I had a chance to meet and speak with her many, many years ago. And her story, if you don't know, growing up in Baltimore, Maryland, in poverty. And by the way, she is a New Thought minister and a lawyer, self-made millionaire, manifested the life of her dreams, even though she had bumps in the road. And one thing she told me was she had this big blow up with Oprah Winfrey and was released herself from the show because she was trying to be what other people was telling her to be. She left Oprah to get her own show and changed her clothes, her hair, and everything. And with that, lost millions and realized she wasn't being authentic. So how can we give ourselves the courtesy and the courage to be authentic in our true selves? Right here and right now. As we're coming out and moving into something that is new, what courtesy are we giving ourselves? What courage are we giving ourselves? There's a wisdom in being authentic. Jesus was authentic. Mother Teresa, Martin Luther King, John F. Kennedy. They're all authentic. Oprah is authentic. Tony Robbins is authentic. Yolanda Van Zandt is authentic. When we try to march this little path, I know for me, things go upside down. Try to fit in someone's mold of someone telling you that you have to be or do or look. I got a lot of heat from my family when I moved to Colorado. except for my mother and my aunt. I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana. Most people don't leave the South. They hold on. A hurricane can knock them out. I got cousins still living in almost shacks after Katrina. Storm after storm. I'm not moving. I'm not changing. I was born here. I'm going to die here. I'm like, okay. And they're staying because their parents stayed. By the way, their parents are no longer on the planet. That is something for all of us to really hone in and take in during this time. It's a new world, a new revelation. I know so many people going through a divorce, a change of job, of culture. I know people are moving and leaving the country. And they are going against that shame and that guilt. But when I talk to them, sometimes they're happy. That's authenticity. And Diego, show us the next slide, please. Ernest Holmes, very authentic. Started studying created religious science, started studying during the time of the Spanish flu, opened a church 110 years ago to these teachings during a pandemic. He dared to be authentic. Do not adopt the letter of my teaching, but the spirit. And you will find, as I did, that you will begin to formulate a system that is true for you. I learned from me, and you must learn for yourself, that you must develop your own faith and confidence in your own interpretation of God, humanity, and the universe. When we step into our authentic self, and be it we change our community, our home, our life, our world, despite outward conditions. I'm going to say it again, outward conditions, the news, social media. Some of it is designed to whack you out of higher consciousness. Information is good. Knowing what to pray for is good. Being aware is good. Being overwhelmed, not so good. It takes you out of a higher vibration of being authentic. It herds you in like sheep. Instead of saying, okay, I'm going to take a break today. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to take a news break. I took 3 days of a news break. It felt good. I have a dear friend of mine that was blessed to go to Hawaii for a month. Yes, I am jealous. She called to see what's going on in America, and hearing about planes. I just gave her, she said, I got 5 minutes, keep it short, but keep it spiritual. And I said, you're going to be fine getting home. Don't worry about it. And she said it was hard getting back home. She was in prayer a lot. She was meditating, she was writing and everything, but she was being authentic. And some of her other friends did not like her being away for so long. As an old phrase, misery loves company. I've had to take a break from a friend of mine who is addicted to CNN, Fox News, and MSNBC. I'm like, you got to stop. And this is a former artist. She stopped her art. And I'm holding her in prayer to step into her authenticity, into her art, to give her peace. Because that is the higher vibration. That is the higher awareness and the higher consciousness. All these auroras, the aurora borealis, people are seeing in Colorado, in Montana, is dropping down. Well, that's part of a geostorm. You go study that. The sun is speaking to us. It is literally speaking to us. It's letting off solar flares. I don't know about you, but my internet and everything has been wonky. Our power went out for 5 hours the other night. And when it came back on, there was a pop and a flash in the sky. And I'm like, Something's going on. There's a lot of things going on beneath the surface. And beneath the surface also is God. And that's where we tap into these teachings. And we affirm that everything's going to be okay. This is not the first time our planet has had wars. It's in the Bible, rumors of wars, earthquakes, volcanoes. Hawaii is part of a bigger landmass called Lemuria. They feel the Bahamas and Burma and Cuba is part of Atlantis. I have a friend of mine that's in Antarctica. He is seeing amazing things. He's away from all this. Just being in peace. That's part of our cultivating that. Because when we're authentic, as Ernest says, that's a confidence and that's a courage to change humanity. When we shift ourselves, we shift the world. The world is shifting. It's time for us to consciously shift with that. Where are we withholding our authentic power? Is there a dream you've had to write or draw or play music or design? Start writing it down. Start where you are. Take a class. There's a lot of free classes online. Look at YouTube. There is so much stuff on YouTube. There's so many documentaries. Think about if you're not liking what you're doing or being right now, start building a new foundation. Earlier I said we're in a new year. Forget about January being a new year. Pope Gregory started the Gregorian calendar. That's what started the January to December. The old ways, the Celtic ways, the African ways, the native ways, the indigenous people started the new year during the spring equinox. We just had it. That was the original calendar. This is a new year. Now we're in a new year. So how are you going to start yourself authentically and be courageous and releasing the shame and the guilt and move forward? Some people don't like it. As my mom said, tough toenails. They don't like it, move forward. Diego, next slide, please. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Carl Jung. Carl Jung was made fun of. Amazing scientist. I believe he was a metaphysician. All the different personalities and everything of how the mind and the body and how we relate to one another. He was authentic. Da Vinci, authentic. Pablo Picasso, authentic. And if you look at or study people that are millionaires or billionaires, look at Steve Jobs, who got fired over 10 times. That's authentic. He didn't care. He did it anyway. That's what we're called to be. God made us all unique. The fingerprint proves it. There's no one like us, even though we are all enveloped in this oneness. We're all connected, but we're also all uniquely, authentically ourselves. So how can we release the shame? One, realize shame is a human ego construct. That's from Carl Jung. The human ego within us will want to shame others or allow other people's, their issues to affect us. When that happens, step away and take a break. Someone wants to shame or guilt you into being something that you are unwilling to be in your heart. Maybe it's time to take a pause for the cause with that individual and lovingly take a break. See, you got something to do, even if it's family. Holidays bring it up. Vacations bring it up sometimes. Take a break from them. Take a break of how long you speak to them on the phone or communicate with them. You don't have to sit in it. A little story about myself. Some of my family members were totally against and don't understand New Thought, CSL, or Unity. They don't get it. They're staunch, born again Christians. And I've been called crazy, nuts. You're like your mom. I take it as a compliment. My mom was a parapsychologist, a metaphysician, grew up Catholic, and her mom, they all said, was this Creole witch. And they were proud of it because they were all healers. I shouldn't be on the planet. My mother did prayer and energy work on me. I should not be here. I was a very sickly little girl. If she wasn't authentic and ignored the shame and the guilt and name calling, I wouldn't be here. She wouldn't have made it to 84 years old. And she left this planet on her terms, conscious, in peace and ease. So it's time for us to be authentic. Now is the time. I will say this, you made it through COVID in the past 3 years. Hey, we doing good. You're okay. Yes, there's financial stuff and there's things going on. And there's still people leaving the planet. But guess what? That's part of life. But how are we going to live on this planet? This is a school, y'all. Earth is a school. Our ancestors made it. You know how I know that? We're here. They all made it. They didn't have technology. My mother was born when they didn't have public plumbing. This little shack of a house still exists in New Orleans. It's shocking to me that they didn't have all that. And we have all this technology. And even me, I get upset. Like the phone didn't charge last night. This didn't charge. I just went there and I'm like going, really? And I caught myself. My husband's like, the flashlight's there. Get over it. And in our kitchen, we have hurricane lanterns. I saved hurricane lanterns. I'm like, what if the power doesn't come on? I do have hurricane lanterns. Okay, the phone didn't charge. Okay. And it was like, wow, they had way less than this. They didn't have cars and all this stuff. And I remember I was so blessed to grow up with my great-grandparents who told me of the Spanish flu. I remember the stories. My uncle reminded me of it. It's like, they didn't have YouTube and all this stuff, all these distractions. They literally had oil lamps. And they were authentic to the point that both of my grandmothers in the Deep South owned houses. Mixed Black women in the South owned houses in the 1920s. They did something they said that couldn't be done without even going to school. Now look what we have. What can we authentically do for ourselves and the world? Start that business. Write that book. Take that class. Even if you don't have enough money for a class, write your own class. You got pen and paper. Figure it out. Sit and meditate. Sometimes my meditation is, God, what do I do today? What's mine to do? What's mine to do today? I believe in praying for peace, but authentically, what can we physically be? That dilutes the shame and the guilt from other people. Remember, Z talked about boundaries. You know how you do that? Boundaries. People start telling you what you can and shouldn't do, or how you should be, or how you should dress, or where you should live. Don't tell them. In the Bible, it said, don't cast your pearls before swine. Ernest Holmes said, keep your precious jewels to your heart. Some people cannot hold the vision you have for your life because they're not willing to tap into their own vision. They got their own stuff. You don't need that. You're required to do your thing. Someone told me the other day, be you, boo. Be you. Do it. Because the one thing I realized when I worked in corporate America, and it helped me for who I am today and what I'm building with my own ministry as well. However, I realized I watched everyone that did look like a machine, look like a robot. Statistically, more people that work in corporate America sitting in the cube have heart attacks on Mondays, going to work or the first hour. Some of those people are not being authentic. They're miserable. And they're miserable for a paycheck and for insurance and for benefits. Now, I'm not saying those things aren't necessary, but what's the possibility that you live your authentic self and you invent something or write a book that makes you more money than what you make in corporate America? That's a strong possibility. An old woman a long time ago who had a 6th grade education, who left this planet worth $25 million, told me, you will never make this type of money working for someone else. She said, those jobs and careers helped me feed my kids. But at night, she started her own business. That was living her authentic self. And people, including her family, made fun of her, and she did it anyway. Because she just didn't want to just get by. She wanted to thrive. And she left her church $2 million. She left homes, generational wealth for her great-grandchildren. That's what we're here to do. That's how you change the world. Jesus changed the world. Matthew 7:1. Do not judge, or you too will be judged. For the same way you judge others, you will be judged. And with the measure you use it will be measured to you. So now I'm not even talking about how we allow others to judge us. How are we judging others? Are we walking around in haterade nation? Because we're sitting back, looking at social media, someone is, well, how come they didn't do that? How come he did that? How come Jeff Bezos is this billionaire? One day I was curious about Jeff Bezos, and I looked at what he and his former wife created. They didn't come from money. They were in college reselling used textbooks. And it just grew. And they got investors, and it grew. They were both struggling. He said they were eating oodles and noodles and found a way to sell used textbooks. And I had to look at myself. When I was in college, I did the same thing because I was very upset that I had to get a biology book that cost $400 in 1994 that was used. And I started using used textbooks. I'm going, man, there was a moment I went, did I miss something? Oh my God, I've always bought, I still do it. I buy things and resell it online. I have 2 stores. I'm going, oh my God, he just took it one step forward. And instead of beating myself up, I'm going, he laid a blueprint out. And some people don't like his political views, blah, 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 but don't look at that. Look at people that took something, got an idea, it came from God, dared to do something that probably people made fun of them, and said it was stupid. The woman that created the Xerox machine was told that she was stupid and it would never take off. Hello. They made fun of her. And Steve Jobs hired her. And another company, a division of Apple, bought the rights to it. She's sitting pretty. Do it anyway. Feel your heart. And I don't care if you are 10 years old watching this or 99. You're still here on this planet. You still have something to do. Your time's not up. Maybe you're just getting started. Deepak Chopra said, in the time of the new shift in consciousness, that we may begin to live longer. We're in a new shift of consciousness. Don't say, oh, I'm not going to make it to 80 or 90 or whatever. I have an aunt that left this planet at 103, and that was in the 80s. Look at today. Start where you are. Do it anyway. Me and my mother were homeless. It is a miracle that I am here. I did not pay for my trip to Colorado. Everything was paid for. Spirit did that. The company paid for it, but that was through God. Everything was provided. It is always provided, no matter what. Be fearless. Be authentic. Be you. You can only be you. You got one fingerprint. You got one body. Set up those boundaries, as Z said. Dream big. That's being authentic. Ignore the naysayers. They're just haters. Haters are going to hate. Let it go. Sometimes it is friends and family. Do you bless them? Bless yourself. And do what you need to do. Move forward into your own life. And Diego, the last slide, please. I like certificates of authenticity. I created this because I found one at home we have some artwork at home that have that, and it made me look at it. And it's presented to the great I am. Be it you believe in the Bible or not, when Moses walked on the mountain, and he said, God, what is your name? I am that I am. That's us. Your call to action is saying, I am amazingly authentic this week and this year. I am amazingly unique. There's no one like you. No one. There's a book you want to write and you think it's similar to another book. No one can write the book the way you can write it. Or sing the song, or do the artwork, or do anything. Start a farmer's market. I don't know. You know what's in your heart. This certificate is for the light you contribute to the international presence to the universe. And this is from the divine creator. We are all light beings in physical form. We are all golden. The Egyptians knew it. Our ancestors knew it. Everything that built this world knows it and knew it. Dare to be authentically you. If you like sports like Z does, look at these people. Look at Michael Jordan. Look. They did it anyway. Tiger Woods did it anyway. Serena Williams did it anyway. Joe Namath, I'm aging myself, did it anyway. Be authentically you. That's your affirmation. This week and this year, I am amazingly authentic. Be it, feel it, ask yourself tonight, tomorrow morning, how can I be unique and authentic like the aurora, like a star, like a snowflake? No two snowflakes are the same. So with that, let's go into prayer. Do an affirmative, authentic prayer that God is all there is. God, the creator of the heaven and all the heavens and all the earths, the moon, the stars, above and below, the consciousness of light, of that divine Christ consciousness. I know right here and right now, we are all in unification with that light, that love, that power, that oneness of authentic energy of love, peace, abundance, power, and divine bliss. In this moment, I know and realize there's peace and prosperity and authenticity and amazing love for CSL Denver, for all the practitioners, for Reverend Z, and for everyone that's watching this, being here, and being in the light on this planet. There's a peace in the harmonic field. There's an authenticity of joy, abundance, prosperity, wholeness, and love. I am grateful for the energy of love in this room, this energy of love in Denver. And as this energy of love in Denver goes out into the universal field, I am grateful for the love and the light and the continually devotion to these teachings and to the higher Christ consciousness in each sentient being. Grateful for Reverend Z and CSL Denver. Grateful for the light and oneness. And I know it is divinely blessed, for new times are here. And I release this into the amazing law, where it's done and complete. And so it is.
We believe in the divine incarnation in all things. And we believe in the divine perfection in all things. And we don't believe that it is a thing that is evolving, but rather that all evolution springs from it.